Although Fanxian is only 4 years old on the outside, he is a mature soul on the inside. The blood and corpses on the first day he came to this world are firmly imprinted in his mind, so he has always been extremely uneasy. He knew that his unclear life experience would bring him trouble one day. It seems that the trouble finally came today. The sneak attack was unsuccessful, so it was naturally impossible to repeat the same trick. While he was sobbing pitifully, he tried to confuse the night traveler, and at the same time he was thinking quickly, trying to find a way to escape. If you call for help, the other party will definitely kill you in a very short period of time. However, seeing that the other party does not make any movement at this time, it is obvious that he was knocked unconscious by his random dad. Fanxian's mind was spinning very fast. When he saw that the sneak attack was ineffective, he relied on his innate advantage of being super young and looked at the night traveler and burst into tears. Dad, Dad? While crying, I began to think extremely nervously about how to escape. No need to pretend, Master Fan. Yi Xingren spoke in a very indifferent tone, but there seemed to be no danger. It seems that you are really smart and know how to protect yourself at such a young age, but you should know very well that I am not a count. Grown-ups. After saying this, Yi Xingren compared the knife in his hand, and then leaned towards the 4-year-old Fanxian. Fanxian's face was still innocent and full of tears, but his heart contracted tightly and he sobbed. Then, Uncle, who are you? I was sent by your father to see you, so don't scream. Night Walker's eyes were slightly brown and looked a bit ugly, and the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes revealed his age. His tone of voice reminded Fanxian directly of those old grandfathers who tricked little girls into seeing goldfish. But Fanxian didn't show it. He still perfectly acted as a 4-year-old child with a hint of fear, a bit of surprise, and a bit of anger. You're not Daddy. Then, as if he didn't see the knife in the other person's hand, he twisted his butt, climbed onto the big bed, and muttered, I don't even know what Dad looks like. The night traveler walked towards the bed with a sinister smile. Suddenly, the little boy on the bed turned to look behind the night traveler, with a hint of surprise in his eyes, and shouted, Mom! This was a very bad move, and anyone who could use it would probably not be able to deceive the night traveler. After all, he was also a master who independently owned a laboratory in Kyoto. But the person who used this trick was a 4-year-old boy, so Yi Xingren believed it simply. Moreover, when he heard Fanxian calling his mother, Yi Xingren's eyes showed an extremely shocked look, and he turned his head and looked back. Go! Behind him were naturally the tightly closed door and the thick night. Boom! A crisp sound sounded in the bedroom. Night Walker lay on the ground with his head covered in blood. Fanxian held a half-broken porcelain pillow in his hand. He looked at the guy on the ground with lingering fear. He weighed the broken pillow in his hand, gritted his teeth, raised his little arm, and hit the other person hard on the back of the head. This sound was a muffled sound, and the strength was extremely high. Even if this night traveler was a master, he would probably not be able to wake up for a while after being hit by this muffled pillow. The maid's voice came from outside. What's wrong? It's nothing, sister. I broke a cup. Let's get it done tomorrow. How can that be done? What if I prick the young master's foot? I told you to do it tomorrow. Hearing that the always gentle, amiable, innocent, and lovely young master suddenly lost his temper, the maid shut her mouth and said nothing more. Fanxian walked back to the closet and pulled out a winter quilt with difficulty. Then he tore it hard with 2 fingers, tore the quilt into strips, twisted it, and firmly held the unconscious night traveler on the ground, really tied up. Only then did he realize that his back was completely wet. A trace of fear surged into his heart. No matter in his previous life or in this life, this was the first time he intended to kill someone. Although he didn't know whether he killed the other person, he was taking too much risk. If the other person was really a martial arts master, he had previously that moment would definitely cost him his life. He put his hand under Yi Xingren's black scarf and found that he was still breathing. For some reason, Fanxian had the idea of killing someone and silencing him. Immediately, I felt a shiver in my heart. I found that after my rebirth, my character seemed to have become much tougher. I had struck so cruelly just now without any hesitation. He didn't realize it himself. This was because in the heart of the child named Fanxian, He had already died once, and rebirth in this life was extremely precious, so he did not allow anyone to harm his life. Only when you are drunk can you realize your knowledge, and only after you die can you realize your destiny. It is such a simple truth. Holding the knife in his hand, Fan Xian thought over and over again. But Fan Xian still didn't make up his mind to kill the unconscious Nightwalker on the ground. Suddenly he thought of a person, and a smile appeared on his face. He quietly opened the door and ran to the backyard, crawled out of the dog hole, and arrived outside the grocery store on the corner opposite the Earl's palace.
Ba, bang, bang.
He knocked lightly on the door of the grocery store. His voice was very small, and it did not reach far in the quiet night of Danzhou. But Fan Xian knew that the person inside must have heard the knock on the door. Although the other person had pretended not to know him for the past 4 years, when the matter came to an end, Fan Xian could only think of trusting this person. Who? An extremely calm voice without any emotion came from the grocery store. Fan Xian thought to himself that this person was indeed the same as he was outside Kyoto. He spoke and acted in a precise manner. He rolled his eyes twice and said softly, "I am Fan Xian." As expected by Fan Xian, the wooden door of the grocery store opened quietly, and the blind boy stood at the door like a ghost, which actually shocked Fan Xian. Fan Xian looked at the man in front of him who had sent him to Danzhou Port, and at the black cloth on his face and eyes that seemed to have not changed at all in the past 4 years. He felt a little curious. Could it be that this man didn't will he grow old?